All right, welcome back. Today, we're digging into a pretty provocative claim from the Unified Fractal Resonance Framework. The idea that one single number is actually a signature, a sign of a universal mechanism that's at work everywhere at every scale of reality. So let's get right into it. So let's start with a bit of a puzzle. What could a flash of light in a lab, a weird quantum fluid, and two black holes smashing into each other possibly have in common? I mean, they seem like they're from totally different universes, right? One's on a benchtop, another is in a slice of exotic material, and the other is, well, it's the most violent thing the cosmos can cook up. And yet, this framework says, nope, they're all playing by the exact same geometric rules. And the clue, the thing that ties it all together, is this number, about 1.272. Now, that's the square root of the golden ratio, phi. And the core idea here is that when this number shows up in all these different places, it is not a coincidence. It's like a calling card, a little signature left behind by a fundamental process of the universe. Okay, so why this number? What's so special about it? To really get that, we need to look at the mechanism it's supposedly pointing to. Think of it like a perfect gateway for energy, a kind of geometric sweet spot where energy can change from one form to another with just incredible efficiency. The theory gives this gateway a name, the rest point, and that stands for Resonant Energy State Translation. All that really means is it's a state of perfect balance where a system's electric field and its magnetic field are perfectly equal. E equals B. It's this point of perfect poise, and when a system hits it, something really special can happen. This whole idea connects to something from electronics called impedance matching. It's a great analogy. You know, if you try to shout through a solid wall, most of that sound just bounces right back at you. That's a bad match. But if there's a perfectly designed opening, that sound travels right through. Well, the rest point is supposed to be like that perfect opening, but for energy. It lets energy transform, say, from sound to light with almost no loss. And this is where it all comes together. The big prediction is that when a system hits this perfect gateway, the efficiency of the energy transfer gets a boost by a very specific geometric factor. And what is that factor? It's our mystery number, the square root of the golden ratio. It's literally the signature that says, hey, this universal gateway is being used right here. All right, so that's the theory. Now for the fun part. Let's follow the evidence trail. I mean, if this thing is really universal, we should be able to find its fingerprints everywhere, right? From the tiniest quantum scales all the way up to the biggest things in the cosmos. First stop, the micro scale. We're talking about something called sonoluminescence. And this is just wild stuff. You take a tiny bubble in water, blast it with sound waves until it collapses, and boom, it lets out this incredibly bright flash of light. You are literally turning sound into light. So how does the framework explain this? Well, the claim is that as that bubble gets crushed, the insane pressure forces it right into that rest condition. It hits the E equals B gateway, and that's what allows the mechanical energy from the sound to perfectly translate into the electromagnetic energy of light. And of course, the efficiency of that process is supposedly boosted by, you guessed it, that 1.272 factor. Okay, let's move up a bit in scale. Next, we're looking at the intermediate level, specifically a material called graphene. You've probably heard of it. It's this amazing one-atom thick sheet of carbon. And under the right conditions, it can behave like a nearly perfect fluid, meaning it flows with almost zero friction. It's super slippery stuff. Now, the argument here is that if you get graphene super clean and cool it down to just the right point where its charge is perfectly balanced, its electrons stop acting like a chaotic crowd and start flowing together in perfect harmony. This theory claims that this harmonious state is the rest gateway in action, and if that's true, then our numbers should absolutely show up in its physical properties. And here is where the rubber meets the road. Using that 1.272 factor, the theory makes a specific prediction for a key property of this fluid, basically how perfect its flow is. And what's wild is that this prediction lands smack in the middle of the range that scientists have actually measured in the lab. We're talking about real experiments published in top journals like Nature Physics. That's a pretty compelling hit. Okay, so we've gone from tiny to small. Now let's go big. I mean, really big. We're talking about the macro scale, the collision of two black holes. This is an event that pushes physics to its absolute breaking point. You would not expect to find the same little geometric rule here, but that is exactly what the framework claims.
The claim is that even in these cosmic train wrecks, the geometry of the golden ratio shows up. Apparently, when you look at the gravitational wave data, the mass ratios of the black holes that are merging tend to cluster around these special values. But here's the kicker. The theory makes a really specific prediction about the spin of the final black hole that's created. It says the spin is determined by a coupling coefficient of, 1.272.
So, what does this mean in practice? Well, here's the bottom line. Scientists took the real data from black hole mergers, the stuff detected by LIGO and Virgo, and they basically had a bake-off between two models. The standard model, which is what we usually use, does an okay job. But this new model, the one that includes our 1.272 factor, it does a way better job. We're not talking a little better. The statistical tests show a decisive preference. It's not a fluke. The model with that magic number is just a much, much better fit for what's actually happening out there.
Okay, wow. So we've gone from a quantum fluid all the way to colliding black holes. You'd think that's the end of the line, right? But the evidence trail takes one last really surprising turn, straight into the heart of biology.
Let's think about something we all know, DNA. The double helix. It's the blueprint for life. And its shape isn't just random, it's incredibly specific. In its most stable form, it has a very precise twist. About 10.5 of those chemical rungs for every full turn of the spiral. Now, for a long time, scientists have just chalked that up to, a quirk of biochemistry. That's just how the molecules fit together. But what if it's not a quirk? What if there's a deeper geometric reason the DNA is shaped exactly that way? You can probably see where this is going. The framework argues this is absolutely not a coincidence. The claim is that this specific 10.5 base pair twist puts the DNA molecule right at that geometric sweet spot. It's the biological version of the rest gateway. And by sitting in that perfect position, DNA gets a boost in stability, leveraging the very same universal enhancement factor we've seen everywhere else. So, let's take a step back. What are we supposed to make of all this? We followed a trail of clues from a tiny flash of light in a lab to the shape of our own DNA to colliding black holes. What does it all mean? The central claim of this whole framework is as simple as it is massive. These aren't separate, isolated coincidences. They are all just different reflections of the same underlying principle, that this number, 1.272, is a universal signature. It's the universe's way of telling us that there is a single geometric rule for efficient energy transfer that works the same way everywhere, no matter how big or how small. This reminds me of one of the most beautiful and, frankly, spooky equations in all of math. It links 5 of the most fundamental constants in the universe together in this incredibly simple way. It just feels profound, like it's whispering a deep secret about how reality is put together. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. If this framework is even partially right, if a single geometric rule, marked by this one number, really does connect quantum fluids, black holes, and our own DNA, what fundamental truth is that telling us about the structure of existence? It suggests the universe isn't just a collection of random things happening. It suggests it's a single, resonant, deeply interconnected system. And if that's true, what else is connected by this hidden blueprint?